All right, get this going here. Connect stream and software to go live.
So my girlfriend works at a Mexican restaurant, and we're about to travel for like 4 months. I just ended my lease, and I'm about to travel to Asia. I'm gonna go visit some suppliers. I'm getting into private label, so making it like a work trip to go visit them. We're white labeling some stuff, and who knows, maybe it's kind of like reselling, where there's like the base level of reselling where you just buy shit and make money real quick. And sometimes you kind of feel like a leech, like, oh, I'm not providing any value to society. Or even me making like a software, like go-to lister. It's like, if we just make what BOOKSELLERS was, or if we come out with a scanning tool and we just do what Scout IQ does, then we're just like a money grab, it feels like. But if you innovate in the sense you make a better software, then it's like, okay, at least I provided some value, and maybe somebody copies you. Like Scout IQ came out with eScore, and then Scoutly copies them. And it's the same in the reselling world. It's like you can go from just buying shit at your Goodwill to all of a sudden now you're going through their back room and helping them organize books, to all of a sudden now you're having their employees scan all the books and put them in boxes for you to then go sell on Amazon. And then it becomes like this whole thing. Maybe you even just take the pallets from them before they even hit the floor, And so now like there's levels to providing value in the reselling game. But the reason why I went on that tangent, what were we just talking about? I was at the Mexican restaurant, and forget how that ties into it. I'll tell this story. It'll come back to me. One of her employees was like, well, not her employees, one of her, the people that work with her were like, hey, can you teach me how to sell on Amazon? And I'm like, yeah, sure. And I don't know if you get this, but I get it all the time where people are like, hey, can you teach me how to sell books on Amazon? Maybe even people like in the comment section see you scanning books and they want to learn how to do it too. And so like always, I direct them to my YouTube channel, starthumble.com, my Instagram. I'm posting shit every day. Dude, the next day he messages me like a cart or his trunk was just filled with books. You know what that means? Like as a beginner, when it's filled, like probably a lot of trash, right?
Yeah.
And so then he came over, and I was teaching him how to actually fulfill some MF labels. That's what I was getting at, because I'm traveling around to Asia, and he's going to be printing MF labels for the business we started, and not started, but we're doing MF now for our wholesale products. He's gonna do that side of things, but he's also learning how to sell books. And so he came over and we made a YouTube video. It's freezing as hell outside today. I'm sure it's cold up there too. And my girlfriend got out the camera and she recorded us. And we basically went through the trunk, and I said, pass. Anything like under $15. Like if it was like a really fast selling book, like there was some $8, $9 books that were like 1K rank. And I'm like, if you want to send this in just to get your feedback, do it. But in the future, I would just focus on $15 plus books as a bare minimum. And then with sales rank, that's always kind of a tough thing to explain to people. Like it's not like we're going to reject 2 million ranked books. Like there was one 2 million ranked book he had that was like $15, but there was only one used offer and the eScore was 5. So we went through all of his books, and we probably pulled 35-40% of them, probably 35%. It wasn't as many as I thought. And so he's going to FBA the rest. So yeah, I guess another thing I was getting at was like, I'm going to China, and like right now I'm just private labeling stuff that I know is like good. And like the classic sense of private label is to like, I guess like the dream of like anyone who thought about selling on Amazon in the last decade or even before, they probably thought Amazon was like, you found a product, you smacked your label on it, and then you got it from China for like $1 or $2, and you sold it for like $40-50. Like that's kind of the dream, right? And I think to every reselling business, and even private label, because now that I'm doing private label, it's kind of like reselling. You're just finding stuff that is already selling until you innovate. And then the innovation piece comes in when you're like, okay, I think the smart way to do it is just like throw darts. Okay, I copied this product, copied this product, and they're all doing well. But this one seems to have like, we keep getting a lot of negative reviews about this one thing. So what if I told the manufacturer to do this? And then that's where you can make a small tweak, and then you truly like provide value. So I always battle with that as an entrepreneur of like, am I just like, taking from the market, or am I giving somehow, So, but I think you have to start just by making money.
You do to an extent, but I mean, if you look at what you do with the software, right? Like, I don't know. I mean, it's coming from me or you, right? So it kind of sounds like, oh yeah, well we both use it, we both promote GoToLister, but like I made that short this past week for Instagram and YouTube, and I really thought to myself like, there's nobody else like doing what GoToLister is doing, right? Like there's nobody else that has a coaching call for any of their people, right? Where they can sit down with somebody, have every question answered. The 24/7 Facebook group, you and Dom respond to every single message that's in. It doesn't exist. So as much as like, that's probably the reason why you decided to get into the software. Like deep down, you knew these other softwares, they don't give a shit, right? It's just a cash grab that you were kind of talking about. And you're like, if I just put in 10% effort, I'm going to be light years ahead of them, because at the end of the day, you just subscribe to the software and that's it, right? There's no interaction. And with you being in the business and, we have every, piece of content when it comes to selling books on Amazon between me and your YouTube channel, like it's all there. So it's not just, just a software. It's like, it's almost not GoToLister. It's like it's you as the person, right? Like you're the brand. You could have just named it like Romer's listing, right? Or something like that, because nobody else is doing it. And you could have named it anything because you put more effort in. You see like the value that's in it. And I think a lot of people kind of sleep on that. And I think it does force these other companies to like kind of try to innovate. But at the end of the day, like they don't have you. They don't have somebody like me. Like the content's always going to be coming out every single week. There's going to be new content, right? Like it's an endless supply of information to start or grow your business that's built for the software. It's eye-opening to me because I never really looked at it from that side of it until I decided to like jump on board with GoTo and go like full blown, all right, this is it. And I'm like, wait, there's nobody else that has anything. Like if you go to their websites, their fact pages are like so outdated. You can't even get up-to-date support for shit.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy, man. You would think, like I just went to a business conference. Alex Hormozy. Do you ever watch Alex Hormozy?
No, but I watch a little bit of them, but I seen your video about it. It's crazy, the stuff you're talking about.
Yeah, so he talks about like taking companies from 5 million a year in profit all the way up to like 10 million plus. Like his goal is to take a company doing 5 million and grow it to 10, because you can sell a company for 10 million for 8x apparently, whereas you can usually only sell maybe it was more than that. I might be having the numbers off here, but a 5 million company generally sold for like 4 or 5x, and you could sell a 10 million company for like 8x. So like that you could sell for a 10 million a year company, you could sell for 80, whereas a 5 million a year company might only sell for like 20 or something. So the idea is to come in, and I think this is kind of relevant for the YouTube channel because we're actually like in a space where this is kind of happening with 3 Colts and Carbon 6, who just purchased 3 Colts, or not 3 Colts. Carbon 6 just sold their company to someone else. You guys can probably look it up. But you would think that if they came in, like Alex Hormozy, he's got this whole team that takes 5 million a year profit companies and grows them to that 10 million mark. And they talk about everything they do. They look at the constraint, what needs to be done. And personally, I think what could be done if you're going to be a 3 Colts and you're going to purchase like all these companies and put them together, get some heart and soul into it. Like get the actual end user and people who like, I think it's so idiotic because you said they don't do coaching calls. Some of these companies do, and I'm not going to name which one specifically now because it wouldn't be good. But there's one company out there and they do the coaching calls, but they're so fucking bad. The person's never sold anything online in their life. And so they just can't give like real advice. And so you think if they had a brain, which some of these companies do, shout out to SellerAmp. They're a great example of this. They get people in the community who are actually like, they actually have skin in the game. Like they got Miles and Warner involved early when those kids were just coming up. And that was such a good move by SellerAmp. And you would think that, these other companies would do that, but who knows? Carbon 6 seemed to actually sell for a lot. So maybe they did. And Carbon 6, shout out to them. I went to Amazon Accelerate last year. That's Amazon's event in Seattle. They were there. They've been at Miami Sellers Conference in the past. Like they are like doing their best to get boots on the ground. I don't know how the heart and soul of their company was, but I think certainly like what we've noticed 3 Colts is kind of missing is like having like a spokesperson, having a Caleb Roth or Mike the Used Book Guy or Romer the Romer, or Reezy or Rakin or somebody. Like, you think they would just pick one. And like, I think that's what they're missing. Maybe they'll watch this YouTube and do something about it.
I'll let you know when the contract comes across my desk, how many zeros is on the end of it.
I hope they're not watching now.
Let's hop on to this YouTube here. D Money says, do you both sell any textbooks? Are you worried about counterfeit claims? I personally, buy back company all my textbooks. You could also do restricted inventory. They only take $20. I think for me, if Amazon's my main source of income, I want to mitigate my risk as much as possible. There's nothing that's 100% safe out there, no matter what anybody tells you. Yeah. But we have the easy opportunity to, if you want to get more than a buyback company, just restricted inventory every single textbook. For me, I just cut it loose to the buyback companies, and it is what it is. But I'll still scan them, and I'll just pull up, Book Scouter, see which one pays me the most, and then just get it out the door that week.
And I'll also say this is kind of new knowledge that I have. If you are going to sell textbooks, merchant fulfill them during textbook season, because especially if you're a brand new seller, there's a much lower chance of you getting a Section 3 if you don't FBA your inventory. And this is kind of something I learned the hard way over the last year. I run multiple accounts, but if you FBA inventory, there's a high chance if you have anything kind of like weird about your account, or you're growing really fast, let's say you go from 0 to 10K in sales, there's a chance they might ask for invoices for your inventory. And if you merchant fulfill it, I've never heard of that happening. I've never heard of someone getting a Section 3 from merchant fulfilled inventory. So just know the moment you pack that FBA shipment and send it to Amazon, there is a chance they will ask you, hey, where did you get this inventory? And then you have to answer them. So just be careful.
And they don't care. You could literally go buy it right from the college bookstore. They don't care. There's counterfeit without test buy. So like, there's nothing you can really do. That it's not fake, but they don't care about that. And hey, just know your own risk and kind of go from there. Tariffs hurt your private labeling. Oh, that's a good one, dude. This is the world you're in now.
Yeah. So no, not yet. I mean, I guess they really haven't hit yet, right? Trump is about to become president. Is he president technically right now? Inauguration? When's inauguration?
I don't think, not quite yet.
Yeah. So we'll see. I've actually been thinking about that a lot, but we'll see. What up, Locked In? Shake your chest. Not sure what that means, but I'll do it. Do you guys think Amazon can speed up the new workflow come January 21st? Hopefully. I have a plan to speed it up for you guys.
100%. So here's what happens, right? They pushed it back. Everybody's all losing their mind. Oh, yeah. With the new workflow, it takes X amount of hours. Well, they pushed it back. They did basically a soft test to see how it was going to affect all the softwares and everything going on. So who knows? They might even push it back again. But regardless of what happens, right? Avery's going to have the video at GoToLister. I'm going to completely redo one with the new workflow once it's set in stone. I don't want to do one right away because I figured something like this would happen and it would get pushed back, and then something might change. Amazon might decide to change this or that. But anyway, look at it. It's a pain in the ass to begin with, but like anything, when you first start it, you're not going to be the most efficient at it. So I think there'll be upgrades. It's not going to be what it is currently. And just use the old workflow until they get this new one ironed out. And then you'll have all the videos, you'll have all the content around it. So if it sucks, we will all suck together, but we'll get through it. And there'll be a full step-by-step guide to kind of, get through it. Yeah,
for sure. And I have some like really creative ideas to fix this flow. And essentially what I want you to do, like, it's simple, like as you're scouting, because we are going to have a scouting app soon. As you're going out scouting, you'll be able to list directly, or maybe we'll just release the listing part first. So maybe use Scoutly, Scout IQ, whatever, and then open GoToLister as you're checking out, list all your inventory. By the time you get home, your F and SKUs will be ready to print. But I mean, right now the flow isn't terrible. Like, the worst part about the new flow right now is the bugs we're experiencing, and we're getting most of those ironed out before the 21st. We've already gotten like probably 20 plus ironed out in the last few weeks. So hopefully everything will be done. The issue now is like Amazon's requiring that you list your products, you create the listings for your products before you send them. So the issues, the bugs that we're experiencing are issues with creating your listings. So once we get those done, which isn't like a huge ask, like once we find out how to most effectively get your listings created, or at least like a very direct way of telling you, hey, these 3 SKUs have errors, fix these real quick, and then you can fix them and then send them. It'll be a lot smoother. But theoretically, when you're if you list on the road with GoToLister Mobile in the future this year, what you'll be able to do is have all the listings created. So when you get home, you just scan the item once. It prints the F and SKU rapid fast because it doesn't have to wait on Amazon's generation anymore. So now you can just scan, and literally print like 3 F and SKUs as fast as your printer can print them out. Label the books, put them in a box, tell Amazon which books are in which box before they tell you the splits. And then you click on whatever the next button is to get your split shipments. And now Amazon will tell you, hey, this box is going to California. Hey, this box is going to Tennessee. But the good news is it's on a per box basis. So one whole box will go to California. One whole box will go to Tennessee. One whole box will go to Illinois, versus like in the past, what's been normal to us has actually been pretty terrible. You list 100 items and 1 item goes to California. And that's why Mike, the used book guy, he's been paying the placement fees that everyone's complaining about for the last, or however long they've had the placement fees, at least a year. You've been saying, I don't want to deal with split shipments, send everything to one location. I'm going to pay the 50 cents or whatever. I'm going to bake it into my cost of goods. And so now, like, the good news is everyone has to do it Mike the used book guy way, because they are increasing the fees for everyone. But the good news is no splits anymore, essentially. Like, there's like really no split shipments. They're split on a per box basis, but you've already packed the box. So when we think of split shipments, we think of unpacking boxes. We think of having to do box contents, all that. That's in the past. So right now, the reason why like it's not, super smooth with any software really is we're just figuring out, how to deal with it. So
it's 22 cents. I just put out my trigger video and my cost of goods is 22 cents. Like, if you can account for something monetarily that's going to make your processes that much faster, then just do it up front. That's what I tell everybody. Like, it's no shock to me about placement fees because I got it right in my buy cost. Yeah, you try to tackle the new one. I mean, at the end of the day, we don't know what they're going to do with the API, how it's going to change. So, yeah, I mean, kudos to you for diving in. I'll tell you all right now. Once they said they're pushing back the new one, I ain't trying no new ones until it's set in stone, and they're dragging me like, Mike, you got to use this. It's kind of like the old manage inventory page. And like they switched that over and I was hanging on to the old one forever. I'm not messing around with nothing until they kind of force my hand to, but better than me.
Want to do. We appreciate people using the new flow because it helps us out with errors, but yeah, we'll get those details ironed out. Victor Chang says, do you guys price your item based on Keepa buy box history, or do you price at whatever high price you can at the moment? So with smart pricing, we go to a lister, it automatically prices, but it's based on the API. So if the API gives us 4 FBA offers and it's a fast selling book, we'll price it at the 4th FBA offer, the highest one. But assuming that we're not talking about API limitations, I'll let Mike answer that one.
You're 100% right. Yet again, I made another short about this, about GoToLister, I think 2 weeks ago. The smart pricing makes it almost foolproof for a new seller. I'll tell you right now, I never paid for Keepa in my life. And I throw the dad joke out there all the time to my group that I have. I like to keep my money in my pocket by not paying for Keepa. And GoToLister's got the Keepa grass built right in. So you don't even need Keepa in today's world. If you're thrifting items from the thrift store, we should not be looking up every single item on Keepa to see exactly what's going on. You will never, ever be able to scan hundreds of thousands of items you need to scan in a year to make this a real serious business. So for me, you got the smart pricing automatically turned on and GoToLister. I also go through, double check, see where I can maybe bump prices up. Maybe they need to come down based on where they're at. But I mean, it's kind of foolproof. You go off the buy box or the smart pricing, it does it all for you. It takes all the guesswork out of everything. And the good thing about it is if the buy box is out of whack, it'll still catch that and price it where it needs to be, because we all know we scan that random book and it says it's worth $10,000. The buy box is $10,000 and it's really like a $20 book.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It would be great to click a button to say, yes, I'm going to list this when it rings green. Yep. That's essentially what it's going to be. Yep. At least load in the system, then price check when putting them in a box. Yeah. What's up, guys? Thanks for the knowledge. I'm a new bookseller and I've been learning a lot from your videos. Appreciate you, Eric. Locked in says, also shipping cheaper using the new flow. No, it'll be the same, but they are forcing you to pay the minimal split shipment option, which you've noticed is about 22 cents.
22 cents. I've run the math, and that's between books, CDs, DVDs. So a box of CDs is like 180, DVDs is like 84, and books is anywhere between like 30 and 45.
Now you're super involved with the community. Has anyone pushed back on that who's been like in central United States or western United States? Have they noticed?
100%. So the way it works here, because people are like, Mike, I haven't been paying the fees. There's no splits. So I tried it. So what happens here, when I didn't pay for placement fees on a box of books, it cost me more money because it's shipped to Arizona versus right in my back door of, Middletown or Poconos or Hazleton in Pennsylvania. So I actually paid more not having placement fees on for books. Now, the argument is if you got 180 CDs at 22 cents a piece, even if you have to ship it to Arizona, it'll theoretically be cheaper to have placement off. But I'm not playing the game of switching it on and off, toggling it on and off. So for books, you're going to lose if it makes you ship further than what you're usually shipping if you have placement fees on. So you actually save money having placement fees on if you're shipping 40+ pound boxes of books 10 states away. So it's kind of really what you're selling. If you're doing all CDs, then you're probably better off just having them turned off and letting them send them wherever they want to send them if you're not getting the splits.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I hate that one item separated. That's the thing of the past. Maybe we'll see. They might flinch on the update, but I think they are serious about it. I think they're just giving us time. We'll see though. I've been paying the placement fee as well. It says Locked In. I like that name. Locked In was commenting on. He's always been commenting from that channel. I thought he liked hop channels. I've been paying for this 100%. Mike Beard King Picker. What's good? Beard King Picker pushed out some go-to lister content the other day. I appreciate that. How important is it to diversify your book portfolio to also include DVDs, CDs, and cassette tapes? That's a Mike question.
Oh man, you guys know me as the used book guy, but maybe it would surprise you if I told you probably 20 to 25% of my business is books now. I still scan the books. I still give them the tender love and care that they need. I don't skip books when I'm in thrift stores. I'm just here to tell you that Amazon fees are based off size and weight. So if you think about your standard book, it's going to weigh close to a pound. It's going to be bigger than your DVD or CD. So for me, just the natural progression of the way that Amazon has structured their fees, if we were having this conversation in 2020, 2021, we'd probably be, the majority books, but the fees have changed so much and the removal fees as well. So you got to take that into consideration. So I'm basically 75% disc media now, but I still go to the libraries. I still have the library connections. I'm still scanning the books in every single thrift store. That's how you find items regardless of what you're doing. But I'm just here to tell you, you're not going to find as many books as you say if you were in this business 2 years ago when the fees look completely different. And if you look at my trigger sets I put out, $5 is the minimum profit for a book I'm willing to take versus $4 for a CD and DVD. The only difference in those is a 1 pound book to remove on Amazon now is going to cost you like $1.75 versus a CD or DVD is going to cost you $1. So that's kind of why you get the difference in those triggers. And the books take up more space. They weigh more. So just be wary of it. But yeah, I'm 75% disc media nowadays, but I still, I don't pass on books.
Mm-hmm. And what about cassette tapes?
Cassettes, man, everybody sleeps on cassettes. Who the hell? I never even had one of those little cassette players in my lifetime. I was in the CD player era. Cassettes are banging. I go in record stores, they give them away $2, $3 a piece. You can get some like Def Leppard, Kiss, Pink Floyd, any of those old school rock, the hip hop, the 90s hip hop. It all falls under your music trigger, and nobody thinks anything about them, and places give them away because who wants cassettes? You don't prep them anything special. You just put the label right on the back of the little plastic cassette. Send them in. Everybody is sold. We preach it in a group big time. Scan the cassettes. They're so overlooked.
Where do you research? Wait, hold on. I have a question about the cassettes real quick. Are there usually barcodes with cassettes? Because I never. Okay. And you're just using Scoutly just to.
Yeah, it falls right under the CD, which is actually the music trigger. So you don't have to even have an extra trigger set or anything.
Okay, gotcha. Do you find it to be like a gold mine, or is it kind of like hit or miss?
You gotta go for like the popular ones that kind of everybody is aware of, right? Like the Snoop Dogg, the Dr. Dre's, anything like that, or like 80s hairband rock stuff like that. The more popular stuff, you're not going to find like random junk in the cassettes that's actually worth it. It's going to be something or a band you've at least heard of, or a rapper or artist you have at least heard of at some point in your lifetime.
Gotcha. I wonder if there's some eBay to Amazon like Dr. Dre cassette flips.
I know somebody that does solely that.
Oh gosh, I just put them on blast. Shit.
Yeah, he'll be in my Discord blowing me up now. But hey, it is what it is.
eBay to Amazon's a big opportunity.
It is.
Yeah. Have you? That has not tempted you enough to try it?
No, I mean, it's there if the day ever comes and I move out to the middle of absolutely nowhere. I'm A-okay with the model, but I think the big hurdle is you got to realize like most resellers, we're so damn cheap. Like the idea of like spending $10 to make $3, even though it's going to sell right away, you know, that's not appealing to anybody that's selling books where you're like, I'm spending $1 and I'm going to get $30 back.
Yeah. It's kind of like there's like a reverse thing happening here. So like with reselling books, like you're so used to like an incredible amount of ROI because you do put a lot of work to find the damn books, and your ROI is insane. Like dollar for dollar, if you could just put money into any business, like putting your money into a book business, if you could put $1 million in a book business, like it wouldn't be insane to make on the low end 2 million, on the high end like 8 million if you're cherry picking. You know what I mean? Like the returns are pretty crazy. But on the flip side, and something that I've noticed myself kind of like gravitating more, because I started posting content, documenting my journey, and then I became like a teacher in the space. And so now like I kind of like am aware of my content more so than when I first started, because I just opened the camera and shot whatever. And now that I'm doing private label and wholesale, when I make book content, something I never used to say in the past was like, oh, like 80% of this inventory is not gonna or is going to sell, 20% isn't. I say that a lot now because like I'll look at an e-score of 9, and like I was outside with my girlfriend's coworker, and I'm like, hey, like there's a high chance this book isn't going to sell, because I don't want to be disappointed. But I'm like, this is $9 profit. E-score is 9. There's not a whole lot of used competition. 50% chance maybe it sells. Like I would send it in. And so like I kind of give him like hope on that front of like, here's a percent chance that it's going to sell. And even if the percent chance is only 10% on like an 8 million ranked book that has sold 2 times in the past 5 years, but there's only 1 used offer, but the profit's $90. Like if you send in 10 of those books and you only paid $1 per book to make $90 profit or whatever, it's like, yeah, it's worth it. You know, just do the math. And so the flip side between, I'd say, books and other models is with books, you're going to get an indefinite amount of ROI on your capital. And with other models, you're going to flip your inventory faster than you could have imagined. Because really, like on fast moving inventory, like sub 40,000 rank inventory and other categories, and even books, like if you want to sell it immediately, like anything sub 40,000, you just drop your price until it sells. And if you have 20 units in your house and you're freaking out, it's like Bitcoin. You can just sell it whenever. It's like a stock. You know, that's what people do all the time in OA or wholesale. They make the mistake of freaking out. Oh, the price is down, and they don't hold until the price recovers. Us booksellers don't have to worry about that as much. But you see this a lot where somebody just dumps 100 units and then the next week it's back up to the regular selling price, you know? So that's kind of like the dichotomy between, I'd say, like as a book reseller, like your mentality has to be patience and send in on average good stuff according to the rank. So don't send in 2 million plus ranked books that are sub $10 profit, but do send in 2 million plus ranked books that are above $20 profit, because when one of those sells, it'll pay for the 9 books that didn't sell, you know, and 1 out of 10 times bringing in $100 profit and then paying for 9 books to be removed. That's worth it in my book.
Yeah. I've been trying to get through people's thick skulls that you don't get paid until your items sell. Right. So this idea of, oh, I have all this inventory sitting in Amazon. Well, like that's not a good thing, right? If in the perfect world, we have 0 items at Amazon because everything is sold. So for me, I'm saying, all right, well, why don't we scan at the lowest price, reprice at the lowest price? Let's actually get our inventory to sell. And I've kind of focused on sell through the second half of 24, and it made a huge difference in my bank account, my bottom line overall. We need our items to sell so we can go find more items. At the end of the day, there's an endless supply of books, CDs, DVDs. If I could sell my whole inventory today, I 100% would do it, and I wouldn't think twice, because I know all I got to do is go out my door, get in the car, and I'm going to go find thousands and thousands more of these items to send in. So we should be focusing on repricing aggressively and actually selling the inventory. This idea of I know what I got, and it's set on Keepa that it's sold for $50, but there's 3 of us on there at $25. get down there, we paid $1 for it. Why are we trying to hold out for like these crazy ROIs? Like if you can sell it today, like I'll take $3 profit. I'd probably even take $2 profit on my 5,000 pieces in inventory today. If somebody said, hey, I'll give you 10 grand, you can have all my inventory. I'm taking it because I know I'm just going to go out tomorrow and I'm just going to fill the trunk up again and it's just going to go in again.
Yeah, there is, though, I will say this. I know exactly what you're saying. So my partner with restricted inventory, he looked at me as like his client. Like I was one. So when I used to run restrictedinventory.com, we took all of the books and ran them through a warehouse. It's the same deal today, but then I sold it to somebody else. So now somebody else owns the website, but the traffic of the book still goes to the same place. And one year, he actually offered to buy all of my inventory at the end of the year, and it would be buying all of your guys' inventory too. He said, hey, do you want me to purchase? And it was like, I don't know, like 50 grand worth of inventory. And I was like, yeah, of course I want it, but I had like the worst January ever. And even now, dude, this January is tough for me because this is the first January in 7 years that I have not had textbooks. You've probably longer, including like college, probably 10 years where I haven't had a textbook in my inventory. So like, I'm kind of like expecting mentally January is usually one of my best months. And so like, I'm pushing my wholesale business and I'm trying to get my private label business going to make up for like the loss in textbook sales. Cause I've always had that. But he told me, my partner was like, yeah, I'll pay you. And he paid me and I was happy with it. But I will say like that January was bad and it was like, fuck, that kind of hurt. And he had one of his other consigners who sent him a lot of inventory who was pissed at him for buying him out. He was like, why would you buy me out? Like I worked so hard to build this inventory up. And like, he didn't get like, he's getting paid for all the inventory like instantly, like it's obviously like mathematically the best way to go is to sell your inventory instantly. But he was mad because he had to suffer 2 or 3 months of, no cash flow. And that's what you have to deal with when your inventory levels are low. So I've switched to sourcing textbooks for Amazon so I can always blame Amazon for counterfeit if it ever comes up. I'm going to push back on this. I don't think that is necessarily going to help you. It could help you in a perfect world if you get a counterfeit claim on one book and you're sending in one copy. Like it has to be that perfect world. But if you send in multiple copies and you don't have multiple copies from Amazon, it's not going to help you. So
even then, you're going to still have to deal with law firms, and then good luck with that. They're going to say, cool, you got an invoice. Well, you're not allowed to sell this, and this one's going bye-bye.
Yeah. So Mike's saying like, okay, you're cool with Amazon now because maybe they trust you that it's with Amazon, but you still have like, if it was from OZ, which is the bad law firm, all the other law firms, to my knowledge, all the other IP complaints and books, I've never really heard of one that bad as Pearson, Singage, McGraw-Hill. Like those are the publishers that are represented by OZ Law, and they will pursue, and Amazon really respects their decision. But who knows? I've never heard of someone being in that scenario where they get an OZ test purchase and they upload an Amazon invoice. Hopefully it would work. I hope it would. Theoretically it should, but Mike's saying maybe you still have to deal with them. But yeah, I'm not entirely sure. Like, I don't think you should be looking to source every textbook in your inventory, Amazon to Amazon, just like at break even or losing money. I don't think that's like necessarily a wise decision. I don't know what the best thing to do is. Like, I think growing slow is really smart. Maybe don't scale fast with textbooks, merchant fulfilled textbooks, like we said. I think, I don't know, like it's an interesting space we live in. And somebody mentioned in here earlier about invoices, something about invoices.
Yeah, you can't have an invoice for used items. The only thing I can say to that is if you have a connection with like a thrift store or a library, you can have them write you up an invoice for that specific ASIN, even if it is used. But it has to be something legitimate. It can't be something half-assed, right? So that's why it's even more important to have a relationship where you can go to an actual public library that you have a relationship with and get an actual invoice with actual people's phone numbers and information, and then have that specific ASIN. You had David Chung on your channel a few months back, and he did a perfect video explaining just this. So go search Avery's YouTube channel. There's a perfect example. He explains exactly what I'm saying, even clearer, how he mitigates it.
So what we know for sure works as a community is using a Goodwill bulk purchase invoice. So David suggests that every 6 months you do at least one bulk purchase. And I would add from Goodwill. And that's just coming from my knowledge, like in online arbitrage and wholesale, is like Amazon has AI that looks at your invoices and makes sure they're legit from Kohl's.com, from Nike.com, or from someone they trust. And we know as a bookselling community that Goodwill bulk purchase invoices have worked. So I would suggest doing just that, and potentially you'll be safe. But what was funny is at Amazon Accelerate, when I was at that conference, which is probably the biggest Amazon conference out there, it really seemed like everyone was trying to push us towards private label there. It felt like every Amazon seller help rep that you talk to, if you told them about your wholesale side of your, I've done online arbitrage, and my main businesses are wholesale and private label. Like if I mention wholesale to them or books or my private label, they always wanted to push me to creating my own brand. It was like they were really adamant about like creating your own brand, because I think that's kind of what they've been told, is like encourage sellers to create new products. Obviously, Amazon wants their sellers to create new products. And I remember Glenn, the bookseller, was like standing right behind me. We were hanging out for a few days, and he he was right here. I'm talking to Amazon seller help rep, and you guys have seen it. Sell Back Your Book. Glenn the bookseller on Amazon, sellbackyourbook.com is how he gets a lot of his inventory and other ways too. And she's like, "Oh, you know, you're not allowed to resell stuff," or something like that. Like she's telling me that. I'm like, do you realize like this guy behind me is like almost like his net worth is fucking insane from selling used books on Amazon? Like, and so I think what they really mean is we want to cover our ass and we don't want lawsuits, and like, and so like understanding that's the game is just part of the game, you know? And so the other thing I was going to say is about David. Yeah, I already mentioned that, like the invoice thing. So get a bulk invoice from Goodwill. We know that 100% works as a community. And maybe, I don't know if you've dealt with many of your members, like dealing with account issues, suspension, section 3s. You want to harp on that a little bit, like what you're seeing, the good and the bad, the ugly?
Other invoices will work as well. I know for a fact people have used iNet video invoices that actually help them beat section 3s as well. So that's another one you can add on the list.
What is it?
iNet video.
iNet video.
It's like an alternative to Christian books to get ungated in some brands for cheap. But yeah, they use iNet video invoices to beat a section 3 for a DVD.
Mm-hmm. Something that might help you is Amazon likes you to have pictures whenever you're going through a section 3. And so I've always thought, like, if you have your listing set up, you know how some people like put the scanner on with it automatically scans. You just take the barcode, take the book with the barcode, scan it, boom. You can also put your phone up maybe, and this will be a lot of work, but you could just record every book. And so like put every book face up underneath it before it goes, and then just have like the batch number and save the video on a Google Drive with that batch number. And then if you ever do get authenticity complaints, you could take a screenshot of it on the video if it's like high quality. And then I know that helps your case tremendously. So I've kind of thought about like programming that on GoToLister, but I think it's too much work. So people can do it on their own. Maybe I'll make a video about it, but I think that could come in clutch potentially, especially if like every batch you had on GoToLister like had the invoice number or where you source the books, because the more detailed you can be with any questions that Amazon has, like the better. Is Caleb Roth messing with us? What do you mean? What's going on? Is Caleb in the chat?
Yeah, we're way behind here on the chat, dude. We're like 3,000 messages behind.
Holy shit, this is blowing up. Cassette sell. Yeah, we already went over that. Somebody just keeps spamming the chat. I have a book for anyone who wants it to fund ebook. He's trying to make some money. James Addictions, spam. Yeah, we got a spammer. Spammer's like responsible for most of the chat. Just sent my first shipment. I was approved to sell only 65 out of 300 books. Is that part of the process? I think maybe you could even answer this better than me.
Yep, 100%. I usually tell people Amazon wants you to see, they want you to be consistent. So I tell everybody, give it a month or two, set those books aside, because in a month or two, all those gates will automatically come down. I promise you, I deal with brand new sellers on a weekly basis. Everybody falls into that where you can only send in 5% of the books you source that say accept, but it's not forever. It's just a temporary period where Amazon wants to say, okay, Romer's serious about this. He actually sent us 3 boxes just January. So in February, we allow him to send in some of this other stuff. So it's a growing pain. And like Romer said, it's kind of good that it's kind of slows you down in your growth, because you got to walk before you can run in this business.
Have you realized, and you can be honest here, I made this list that my goal with this list is if you guys go to starthumble.com/ungate, you'll get a list of, I think it's like 200 publishers that I pulled from Better World Books. And as a new seller, you might get ungated in like 20% of them automatically. You just simply, you can either just copy and paste them into Seller Central or go to Lister and drag and drop it in bulk upload. And then it'll quickly allow you to apply for all of them. But have you noticed that people who like try to get auto ungated in a bunch of different brands get ungated faster, or is it solely based on sales, or do you not really know?
I think it's a mixture of both. I think if you're consistent with it and then you go in like once a week and try to like do exactly bulk upload those, I've seen people have success in batches. It's kind of weird how it works, but I think you got to do both. You can't just send in one box and then for the next month try to keep auto ungating in these. I think they want to see you send in a few boxes and then they'll come down, but you kind of can speed up the process a little bit by doing exactly that and uploading that list and just automatically applying for them.
Yeah. Yeah. Let's see. I spend no more than $1. Okay. Junkman says off. That's what we say to the golden retriever here when she's barking. Have you ever tried using Scoutly for stuff outside of media, like clothing at an outlet? You don't really mess with clothing, do you?
It just gives you the sales rank. You're not going to have a BSR. You're not going to know how many units sold, something like that. Then you're going to have to wind up going with Seller Ramp, where you're going to get all the data. Personally, I just stick with media. But yeah, I have scanned things. But if you don't know the monthly sales breakdown of what percentage is the top percentage in those categories, you're completely flying blind, because a 250K ranked board game is probably never going to sell. But if that's a book, it's probably sell within a week.
Mm-hmm. Is it worth driving 3 hours for a library sale?
Depends, honestly. Some of these library sales, if it's a big one, there's going to be lots of competition. I know people literally camp outside some of the big library sales around me. So if you roll up with this mindset that you're going to make a shit ton of money, here to tell you, these huge library sales are like wrestling matches. Why do you think he got into wrestling? It wasn't because he enjoys wrestling. It's because he was selling books back in the day and he had to fight his way into the library sales.
You mentioned that Amazon watches out if you grow too fast using 10K in 3 months. 10K in 3 months is fine. Could trigger that. I think 10K in a month might trigger Section 3. But if everything lines up, you should be fine. I started October 1st and hit 12K in sales as of today. How concerned should I be? You're good. As long as you're selling stuff, it's not getting returned. You're being consistent with like everything. Like I think you're kind of at risk if you're moving around. Like 2018 me might be at more risk, like sending in shipments from all over the country. You just got to think what would trigger flags on Amazon.
Don't send in, 10 copies of the same item, whether it's a book, CD, or DVD. I try to tell people this. If you have multiple copies, space them out over time. If for some reason you stumble into 10 new copies of Frozen, the DVD, like don't send all of those in the same batch. You're just kind of willing somebody onto you to be like, hey, why the hell does Romer have 10 copies of Frozen? He must be burning these things in his basement. And then all of a sudden it raised the red flag. So that's kind of one thing I always tell people is don't send in large quantities. I try to never send in more than 3 quantities of the same item in the same box. I just feel like it's going to trigger something on Amazon then.
Is that something you've noticed like in your community?
Yeah, I personally know people that have gotten jammed up because they send in multiple copies of the same stupid DVD that wasn't even really that profitable.
Interesting. We send our books to restricted inventory. They aren't showing up on the site. The new owners answers emails, but they still aren't. But they still aren't there. It's been selling, but yeah, just give it time. Most likely it's in good hands. Keep harassing the customer support. Even with us, it was a slow process because you have to send your books. If you get checked in, there may be a delay in when it actually shows active based on how the actual warehouse list your books. If they send them FBA, it's a little bit longer process. If they list them MF, it shows up immediately. So, but the more persistent you are, the more likely you are to get an answer. I probably would have said that if I still owned the company, but the squeaky wheel gets the grease. All right. If you have new items, if you buy used from a third-party seller on Amazon, you won't make your case. If you buy new items, you buy used. I don't understand this.
Me neither.
Is that English? How do I send 50 plus pounds book series to FBA? You just put them in a box. Probably got to list them on Seller Central. since Go-To Lister has a 50-pound limit as well. I think
Dude, there ain't no shot I'm FBA in a 50-pound books. Just FBM it. It's going to be worth money either way at this point.
FBA boxes. What I used to do is you just go to Seller Central, list it, pack it in a box, make sure it's heavy duty, thick, heavy duty box from Home Depot. The highest I went was like 130, bro. And I would write team lift on the side, and then you put the F and SKU sticker, the UPS sticker, and the FBA label. So you put all 3 labels on the outside and then send it. Do it at your own risk though, and make sure you pack the box good. I did that with several sets from libraries, because me and Caleb we were doing library closeouts for a while, and we would go to these libraries that would have the closeout. Still a huge opportunity today. College is closing down. Still a huge opportunity today. You go in, and we would just, lots of times, like it was old books, $80, $90 profit, sales rank 2-3 million, but they sold over the years, consistent sales over the last decade. And what you could do is you could make the sets were always really profitable, and there was always no FBA offers. So we would send those in, match low FBA or low MF, and get the sale. Right team lift on the side.
$141.52 if you had to have a 130-pound book set removed from Amazon.
Wow.
Today.
Yeah.
That's nuts. Back then it was probably like $20 if that.
Free removals.
Yeah. But I remember when they ran the free removals.
Yeah. You can't source textbooks from Amazon unless you buy new directly from Amazon, not third party. No comment. I mean, we got Joji over here making 100K profit a year. Victor making 100K profit. I don't think that's.
Yeah, they don't buy new textbooks. They just snipe low ones.
Yeah, I don't know what you're getting at there. I maybe like, well, I've never heard getting an invoice from a library for used books. Thanks for that. It's definitely sarcasm. But no, Amazon Terms of Service literally says you can sell books from your house. TOS sourcing books, Amazon. Have you ever read their TOS recently about?
Nah, man. I lay low. You go searching for them pages, and that puts you on a list somewhere, dude.
So I'm trying to optimize Go-To Lister, our SEO, and so Amazon has How to Sell Books Online 2025 step-by-step guide, and so they tell you where you can source books, and so they say, I'll share my screen real quick. It's interesting. They say you can source used books from. Or textbooks here. Textbooks can be seasonal, high demand, blah, blah, blah. 5 tips. Decide how you want to source books. Wholesalers, publishers, distributors, library sales, auctions, used bookstores, yard sales, estate sales, thrift shops. I feel like this is a lawsuit, getting ready to be made against Amazon for all the Section 3s and bullshit they've been doing. But yeah, straight from the horse's mouth?
Yeah. This dude's crazy. I use Scally to catch greens, then verify on SellerAmp. Then I use SellerAmp to compare the Go-To Lister for the price I pick. And then 35 years later, you get your first box sent out the door. Like, I'd be here for like years of my life doing that for every single one.
All you need is price and sales rank. Like, if we're being real, like, what's the price? Sales rank, like, for a quick decision. And you really haven't used Keepa? Like, you're not a Keepa fan?
I appreciate you adding it for people like me who never had it, but I've always understood, like, I've watched the videos, right? I watched the Joji videos. I watched the Miles and Warner videos. I understand how it exactly works, but I never felt like in a thrifting model when we're risking so little that let's just keep scanning more items. Let's just keep getting through the inventory faster. Let's get to the next store instead of trying to decide what it's going for at this point in time. What can we get for it today? That's my big thing with the thrifting model. I don't think you need it, but if you're doing anything else, any other model in the universe besides thrifting media, then you should, and it's required to have Keep It.
No one ever got rich selling books, right? Who's Bezos? I know a few people. My friends 2020 started up in Canada, and they've stacked well over $1 million cash, and they both started with $10,000, and they just secured a bunch of deals with thrift stores around. They started cherry picking. Then they did a little bit of online arbitrage, and then went to bulk. And I know someone else who's worth almost 9 figures solely from books. So I call bullshit on that. After 3 months, I started getting ungated super fast. It was right when I had 1K. Yeah, I tell my students about 1,000 in sales, they'll start getting ungated. Hey, Craig, if you don't mind, what's your strategy or best place to source? I just sent my first shipment out. Craig says I was ungated after my 50th sale. Nice. This is good information. I appreciate this, guys. Maybe you want to take that. What's your best place to source? Since
Record stores. Record stores and pawn shops. I went to a Goodwill today. I got 3 DVDs. I just went in there because it was on the way. Goodwills are all but dead when it comes to books and lots of CDs and DVDs. It's all pre-scanned. It all goes to a warehouse where they sell everything online. It's crazy because I never stepped foot in a pawn shop or a record store until 2024. And I've literally replaced every single Goodwill on every single route that I run with a much better performing place that isn't a thrift store. It's absolutely crazy to me, the opportunity. And I'm kind of pissed at myself that I never even decided to step foot in one of these until 2024.
Dang. I use Scout. Yeah, you already addressed that. Yeah, I quit going to book sales. I think book sales, I've always been really good at book sales. Have always been really high profit for me, and I
partner up with a library. I scan the whole book sales before they're open to the public. It says not pick through on Book Sale Finder. They're dead wrong. It should say the Mike Used Book Guy scanned the whole damn library sale before it was open. You ain't gonna find nothing.
That's hilarious. Are IP complaints common for used books? Should I get IP alert? IP alert's not going to help you with used books.
No, you got GoToListers got the Books Run counterfeit checker built right in. So if you are listing textbooks, you can click on it and it'll tell you whether or not it's highly. But that's not like 100% either, right? So it's all about risk.
Yeah, it's all about risk. And I would say IP alert's more like an OA community product. Like that's more to source like online arbitrage. Like if you're doing Walmart or something. Or any type of retail arbitrage, IP alert's good for you. But in the book space, Books Run Calculator is a good resource to have. It certainly means something, not 100% accurate, but are they common? I know bulk booksellers who have probably 50 to 100,000 of books in their inventory. And at any point in time, those guys will have like 40, 50 IP complaints open at all times. So if that's common, then yes, maybe. But how often do you deal with like an actual IP complaint? Is it?
Knock on wood, I average like under 3 a year.
Yeah. So it's common enough, but it doesn't mean the end of the world. And usually in the book space, the only ones that truly hold weight are from the textbook publishers, Pearson, Cengage, McGraw-Hill. Like those are the ones. And then there's other weird publishers that'll get you, but it shouldn't really affect you too much. Just got a repricer, and I've sold 28 items today, 713 in sales. Didn't realize how much a repricer works. Good stuff. Anytime you turn on a repricer, you're going to see an increase in sales. Anytime you turn off a repricer, if you have conservative repricing settings, even turning off a repricer will increase your sales too, because now you're not jumping all over the place. You're not always pricing back up. Mike, are you still doing one-on-one coaching? How do I sign up?
It's all through the YouTube channel, man. I'm not sure if you're still. It's just a certain tier. The $25 a month tier, you get a 25-minute one-on-one, and then you just go to the community tab, and you'll see the Google form where you can sign up. Lost weight is looking good. I ran my diet consisted of 1,000 calories for 6 months, and I lost 60 pounds. 1,000 calories every single day was my calorie intake. Sure, I was up some days and down some days, but I lost 60 pounds in 6 months, and I've never felt better.
Holy shit.
Yeah.
6 months ago from today?
No, it was January. January of 24 is when I started. My wife got me into because we were going for walks and like wasn't losing any weight. I'm getting fatter and fatter. Of course, nobody tells you when you're getting fat, right? When you lose weight, everybody's like, "Oh, you're skinny now." I'm like, "Well, how come you didn't tell me I was fat then?" Yeah. We were going for daily walks. We thought we were eating better, and then she stumbled upon this Lose It app, and you can just scan the barcode of any food. It automatically uploads your calories. You can set how much weight you want to lose every week, depending on how much you weigh. And I went hard on it. I went 2 pounds a week, and it was like 1,000. It gives you a warning, like you should eat more than 1,000 calories. You might die. Whatever. I did it for 6 months, and I lost 60 pounds.
That's dope, man. I knew you looked skinnier, but I didn't realize it was 60 pounds.
It's not a lot. I mean, 1,000 calories is not a lot of food. It's not for the faint of heart.
It ain't, no.
But I was used to working at CVS, dude. You didn't get lunches. You didn't get no breaks. So my ass was already used to not eating for 9 to 10 hours a day. So I was just like, I'll just roll this over.
Yeah, I associate. I have the opposite problem. I have like, I did gain. I got to 170 last year, and I'm like around 164. I hover between 162 and 165 now, and like that's like a weight that's easy for me to maintain. I'm not as strong as I would be if I was bigger, but my struggle was just getting 5,000 calories a day. Like that was like so much for me. I went one whole month without being hungry. And yes, my results went up. I gained a lot of muscle up here, but it was like, fuck, is this worth never being hungry? Like, and I know it's like, it's a different kind of pain. It's like if you're always gaining weight, like you're never going to be hungry and you're going to feel like throwing up when you eat food. But if you're losing weight, that starvation feeling is very, very difficult to resist. Like the feeling of wanting to eat. So like they both kind of come with, one's like kind of eating more is like pushing through the pain. And this is just constantly like resisting that temptation. And your brain goes crazy. Like I cut weight for wrestling and I'm already like really lean. And dude, I would wake up in the middle of the night sometimes. I'd be like, fuck it, I'm just going to eat this whole pizza.
Dude, I miss my Domino's pizzas.
I don't think I felt guilty in the way that like maybe like a obese person would feel, but I did feel like, fuck, I'm gonna have to run like 3 miles in the morning. And like it was like it was like a guilt of like, how could I let myself do this like afterwards? You know, no, but like not like a body image guilt. But anyway, enough about that. We'll get out of here in just a second. We got Indy saying my goal is when my kids move out that me and my wife will jump in on a converted van and just roam and resell. Nice. With shipping so many different addresses, just use the same ship from address and just ship them from different areas. And then that's a cool story. So if you ever do get Section 3 or whatever, like I did say that I think you will draw attention, like if I was doing that in 2018, but like the more established you can be before that trip and the more sales you can get and show Amazon like you're a legit seller, the more likely you are to pass that. But if you just randomly ship something out of California and you live on the East Coast, Amazon may ask you like, hey, you know, why are you shipping from this address? So to be safe, I just use your ship from address, but then drop it off at any UPS. What sales rank would you suggest when sourcing DVDs? Thanks for all the info.
Go to my YouTube channel. I just did it literally yesterday. I uploaded new triggers for Scoutly and Scout IQ for 2025.
Nice. That was nice. Hadn't seen someone look at TOS yet.
That's me showing up with my TOS for my Section 3 interview, and they're like, we don't give a shit about this. Why you got that? I'm like, but this is your stuff. This is literally your handwriting.
Yeah. I think also that's just why like the more sales you get, I think the safer you are. Because
100%.
The more lawsuit, they just know like, okay, this is some new knowledge I have as a private label seller. I got a patent infringement. So like everyone thinks private labels, like all the grass is green, like all the private label gurus are like, oh, we don't have any issues. If you're a reseller, you have Section 3s, but private label got a patent infringement on a product. And Amazon has the gross amount that you're liable for if they're right. And so it shows like all the sales you've ever done, like let's just say 1,400 in sales. Okay, you're liable up to this amount. Nobody gives a shit about 1,400 in sales. But Amazon knows it's the same story with you. And so if your store has done $1 million in lifetime sales, they know that that's the type of liability you are in terms of lost sales over the same time period if your account gets shut down and you truly try to pursue them in court. And so you definitely do have more. The more you sell, the luckier you'll get with Amazon, I believe. Tell Scout IQ. Scout IQ tells me to push up the price because no competition. I list it higher and Amazon makes the listing inactive. List it as collectible. On GoToList, we have the option to list as collectible. I know someone requested that if the book was above X price, it should auto list as collectible. I'm not going to do that, but if you guys don't want to get high pricing errors, just list the book as acceptable, as collectible, and you won't get that. You have any advice on that or tips?
You can permanently fix them if you already sent the box. You can go in and edit the listing through Seller Central, and it will actually tell you when the price will be accepted. So you change the price box in that actual listing when you hit edit listing in your manage all inventory page. And when it's at a price Amazon deems acceptable, which we all know is BS, it'll go away permanently. But that's the thing, like you're going to lose money on some of these cases, especially if you're doing, you know, the eBay to Amazon or the higher, more expensive items to flip.
Collectible is a hack and it works. So just list as collectible if you're worried about it. So many times I put a Scotty Green back because it was flagging a fake sales price. What do you mean?
Talking
fake?
like the fair price?
I think it just means like it's comparing against like a new price when you're scanning used inventory, because maybe the used inventory is like $7 merchant, but the new price is 40, and so it jumps to 40 because the sales rank. You know, sometimes it does that and so maybe he's talking about that. That's why it's called a trigger. Like it's meant to get your attention, and if it's going at a higher price, there's probably some truth in it that it means you could sell it for higher. Maybe not at the price it's comparing to, but you could probably maybe sell for $20, you know. So don't just like assume
it's just software, dude. It just does what you tell it to do. Doesn't have no mind, no feelings, no nothing. It just literally data you put in, and it just spits data back out at you.
Yeah. Your goal with triggers should notify you more often than not about books, just so you should be saying no, but you don't want to be overwhelmed with yeses. But you don't always want it. Oh, if I finally got one, 100% of the time your triggers, if your triggers are 100% accurate, you need to reduce them, because you need to be mentally saying no to books that it's saying yes to. It was a joke about no one making money selling books. Jeff Bezos. Yeah. Jeff Bezos is a billionaire off of all. He's still making 15% of all of our sales. Now I get the actual cynical comment that nobody makes money selling books all the time too. So that's why I addressed it that way. Goodwills are garbage. Again, like the people I mentioned earlier who have stacked over $1 million cash in the bank, source from a lot of Goodwills. So I push back on that too. Christian thrift stores have really decent pricing. Yeah, they should. Otherwise, it would be a sin. Avery, when are you going to be in Cali so we can have that wrestling match?
This dude's always trying to fight you every single week.
Let's pull up, stupid face. I just had a tough match last night. I've been talking shit to my head wrestling coach all week. He got the dub last night. It was close. I wrote him out third period. I was on top. And he's also got 20 pounds on me. But I'm going to beat his ass tomorrow. So, hey, pull up to Miami, though. We'll hash it out. Let's see here. I'm late. Appreciate you coming in, Josh. We'll buzz through these real quick. I only send textbooks during textbook season. Before January and August, nice. It's a good strategy. Don't send them in during textbook season. What's the name of the textbook? Checker to see if they're commonly counterfeited. BooksRun.com. They're also integrated with GoToLister. So if you click on Risk Check as you're listing books on GoToLister, it automatically pops up. Are you sourcing books from eBay? Neither of us are. What's the best user-friendly repricer? Mike says reprice it, right?
Yep, reprice it. It's the cheapest one too. I always say don't get a repricer until you got at least 200 pieces of inventory in your actual inventory, so you feel like you're committed to something and it's kind of a little bit of a payoff.
Mm-hmm. He says congratulations on 60 pounds. Damn, we're still really behind on comments. Competition of library sales or regionals. The few times I can run into other sellers when I'm in a metropolitan area, but in the middle of nowhere library, I've been the only one scanning. Nice. Yeah, that is true. And competition at library sales advertised on BookSaleFinder.com are always going to be higher. No freaking way. I've been doing 1,000 to 2. I thought he was about to say books, 1,000 books per day. I was like, wow. Calories per day for 3 months, lost 28 pounds. That'll do it. I had a book that Keepa said sold for $100. I was only book listed fair pricing, made me sell for 60. Any idea why? Number one, you didn't list it as collectible. Number two, try to do what Mike said and go in and change the list price. That's amazing. Lost weight. Congratulations. Damn. Okay. Yeah. We finally made it to the bottom.
Checking with my doctor. I could be overworking my heart with that much weight loss. Research carb cycling. I appreciate it, Lamar, but I'm back up now. I'm doing like between 1,500 and 2,000 calories a day to kind of maintain and maybe lose a little bit more.
Nice. Takes discipline, man. It shows discipline. On Book Sale Finder, it says over 25,000 books 3 day. Yeah, I found those estimates to be very estimated. 3-day event, you're only really going to need to be there the first day, and then maybe the last day if you're going to lower your buy cost. But yeah, I mean, I'd say do it. Like, go. it'll be good for the first hour or so. It'll be fun. Business write off 6 hours of driving. I say do it. What's the section 3? It's when Amazon basically either wants to verify your identity or how you source your products. Mike, have you had any success experience with vinyl or VHS?
Vinyl's a pain in the ass. You got to buy specific vinyl shippers to send them in. Vinyls, people that buy usually are collectors, so if it's not in great condition, I would not mess around with vinyl or VHS tapes. If you're going to mess with VHS, I'd probably just go the eBay route, look for like the horror ones.
Congrats, Craig. 3rd sale this week. Can I put thank you stickers to Polybag, which cover? Can I put thank you stickers to Polybags, which cover? You can. Certainly can. That wouldn't be as effective as I don't know what you're going for, but if you're going for reviews or something, you can politely ask for reviews without incentivizing, according to Amazon terms of service. I've been thinking a lot about this. If you link people back to your storefront, because now that I'm doing private label, they don't want you putting a QR code that takes them to your website. That's a no-no. But you can put a QR code that takes them back to your Amazon store, the product. And so if we take note from one of the biggest booksellers who's become a multi-millionaire in the space, sellbackyourbook.com, what he does is he puts sellbackyourbook.com in every fucking package, which technically breaks Amazon terms of service. But I've thought, what if you just link people back somehow to your store? I'm not sure if anyone in the book space has messed with that. You really don't want to mess with Amazon when it comes to like linking people to your own website or anything like that. But another one of my friends, David Chung, years and years ago, he put Uber coupons in books, and he got I think like $25,000, or it was either Uber or like some type of like delivery thing, and he gave away it was $5 for every person he referred, and he put it in every book, and so he just stacked up like he's selling thousands of orders a week, and that man never had to pay for an Uber for a while. Any ETM when we're going to be able to use GoToLister for scouting? Nope. I'd say late Q1, early Q2, if I had to guess. Recently hit up a library sale in Nashville. Not one scanner, only me. Nice. We're slacking out here, apparently. Which library was it? I love it. Keep it going. Appreciate you. Boom. All right. That's a wrap.
Before we go, we gotta talk about a few things. We got our monthly GoToLister call this Saturday for all GoToLister users. You shoot it out in the email, right? The Zoom link and everything. I usually will drop it the day of when it's happening in the GoToLister Facebook group as well. Then we also got the Dymo that I'm giving away this month for anybody that signs up through my link. So Dymo 4XL will be given away as well. That's all I got for you, dude. I appreciate you. We ran over a little bit, but it is what it is.
Yeah, I appreciate you, man. And these are getting bigger. We had 70 plus people today. So see you guys on Saturday, right?
Yeah, Saturday. Yep, Saturday, 6 p.m. Eastern. Yes.
Boom. If you guys want to join that, go to gotolister.com, get your free trial. If you want $5 off, go through Mike's link on his YouTube channel. Go to his YouTube channel, click on the Mike the Used Book Guy, GoToLister link, get $5 off for life. Much love, guys. Peace out.
Appreciate you. So everybody have a good one.
Boom.